is a live stream about information and security breaches, particularly around cybersecurity, various data breaches, and there's been quite a bit of activity, and we had a live stream about this last week. What had happened last week was the T social review app had been hacked, Sharepoint had been hacked, and we also spoke about some drones being flown over the southern border for surveillance as well as for surveying, just basic surveying and surveillance and for possibly peddling drugs over the border. But today we're going to talk about some other breaches and hacks. So last week we spoke about T, how it had a database that was public, and this database held information about users and several of their posts. This database was a legacy database, 2024, February 2024 and earlier, but apparently T was hacked a second time, which is pretty serious. So from the BBC, dating safety app T suspends messaging after hack. So the messaging is turned off on the app, exposed thousands of images, posts, and comments. Oops. Sensitive conversations, exposed messages, images hacked. So let me just make sure, because I thought it was hacked a second time. T just keeps getting worse. So this is from 404 Media. Was breached multiple times. Okay. Let's find this. I am not finding a second breach. Oh, here. NDTV. T app hacked a second data breach, exposes private chats of over 1 million. Quote, this is from NDTV World. Mr. Rahajerdy said he was able to access more than 1.1 million private messages between T users, including intimate conversations about topics such as divorce, abortion, cheating, and rape, unquote. Wow, this is huge. The app again is about sharing red flags. It's for women, feedback about men they've dated. Last week, experienced a data breach of 72,000 images, including photos and IDs that also had geographical data, so locations. There were maps. I'm sure there's a database behind those maps that exposes people's information. Now, quote, now it is being reported that more than 1.1 million private messages between users have also been exposed online. That is terrible. And as we said, what they were: infidelity, abortions, this very sensitive stuff. And if it has names behind it, it becomes very sensitive. And even shared phone numbers to take conversations off the platforms. And so security reacher Kazra Rajerdi discovered the latest breach. Wow, this one seems to also, well, it says it chats went back to early 2023. Wow. Quote, Mr. Rajerdi told Business Insider that he accessed Tea's app data using an app development platform called Firebase. This led to the discovery of the messages database. Mr. Rajerdi said he was able to access more than 1.1 million private messages between Tea's users, including what we said before. That's horrific. That's crazy. Raised concern about the safety of users, especially those private conversations. This is an extremely sensitive app, so it's difficult. The sensitivity of this app, should come back with some high security standards. And I mean, I'm not sure how people feel about it. I certainly wouldn't trust this app with any sensitive data like this. Maybe you can if they are able to do something. If they're able to do something and regain the trust of their users, but if they want to continue in the business of social verification, this is a huge breach of trust. Quote, Tea is a woman-exclusive platform based in the U.S., allowing users to discuss their dating experiences anonymously. On Tea's website, it says it has a community of over 4,647,000 women. It's very serious. And, we don't like to think about security first, but it's the implications of bad security are huge in software. It's really huge. And this, again, this is saying the same thing, 1.1 million direct breaches. This is the second security issue within 5 days. And as a social review app, this is naturally going to have people. We spoke about what the topics were. It was a very controversial app. If you're going to have a controversial app with sensitive information, security is so huge. And I think things like this are going to become much more pronounced as we go more digitally, as AI becomes a bigger issue, as we move towards blockchain and cryptocurrency systems. The cyber security aspect and the insurance behind some of this stuff is going to be important. And if you get breached, that's a big deal. You lose the trust of your users, and also, there might be repercussions, likely will be. So here it is. This is a quote from theweek.com from their article, quote, Tea app hack, user data stolen from women's dating safety app, unquote. And this is what they said. Quote, within hours of the breach, said the New York Times, the now deleted 4chan thread shared a custom Google map that purported to use data from the leak to tie the images to locations of women registered on the app, unquote. Very, very sensitive information. Many people don't understand what they give up as they go through their day. You can include me on there to some degree, but Quote, this is from 404 Media. It's hard to overstate how sensitive this data is and how it could put Tea's users at risk if it fell into the wrong hands. Users could be easily found via their social media handles, phone numbers, and real names that they shared in these chats, unquote. It's a big deal. So T app, be careful what you put online, even if it's not under your name, your username. There's traceability. There's traceability back to you. And it's almost impossible for someone to do things that are not traceable back to them. Almost impossible online. So be aware of that. And once you're aware of that, you can decide if you really want to be socially reviewing people. I mean, people have the right to do it, but they need a trustworthy platform, and especially for something so sensitive. And you'd hope it would be private. I mean, this seems like a very novel. I mean, it doesn't seem like a sophisticated breach. It seems like these were publicly exposed databases, which I understand. Google Cloud is kind of a tough environment, but it gets back to understanding your cloud environment, removing resources in your cloud that you don't need, transferring all the data to secure sources. I mean, especially in something like this. So we'll move on from this and we'll go to, speaking of hacked again, SharePoint seems to have also been hacked a second time, which is interesting. SharePoint is a huge legacy software with a lot of it's everywhere within enterprise. So let's check it out. Chinese government tied to the hackers. Much of the damage could have been avoided if Microsoft properly patched the security hole quickly and followed up to help companies banish hackers that they still had access to SharePoint. It combines two security exploits, one that allows hackers to get into SharePoint and another that allows them to steal and use SharePoint Server ASP.NET machine keys. Blame is being shifted towards Microsoft for missing the vulnerabilities. Yes, when they're stacked, they're saying that the stacked vulnerabilities is what's making it an issue. And I mean, we've seen a lot of these types of things from Microsoft. Microsoft is one of the oldest software companies around. And so it's so embedded within much of the systems that we use. It's difficult. Wow. Listen to this. This is huge. This is absolutely massive from computerworld.com. Senators Eric Schmidt, Republican MO, and Ron Wyden, Democrat Oregon, sent a pointed letter to the Pentagon asking it to back off from a plan to increase its use of Microsoft products. Quote, we write with serious concern that the DoD is doubling down on a failed strategy of increasing its dependence on Microsoft at a time when Congress and the administration are reviewing concerning cybersecurity lapses that led to a massive hack of senior U.S. officials' communications, unquote. Many just a lot of systems in general around the world use Microsoft. Industrial systems, government systems, military systems, and they've been using them for a long time. So let me check if anything else has been stated about this. Yeah, I mean, it was. So there was a SharePoint hack last week, and it seems like it just happened today again. No, it looks like this might be the same related hack. Oh no. Oh no, it is. Microsoft SharePoint Server zero-day exploit hits African treasury. Exploited a critical zero-day vulnerability in SharePoint Server. 400 entities worldwide, significant organizations across Africa. Notable instances in the US, Mauritius, Jordan, South Africa, and the Netherlands. Actual number of victims might be higher. Specifically targets on-premise SharePoint installations rather than Microsoft managed cloud environments. South Africa, huge hit. Victims including prominent car manufacturer, a leading university, several local government bodies, and a federal government agency. That's huge. That's really big. I mean, SharePoint is like the original file drive before Google Drive got huge, OneDrive. I mean, I don't know how SharePoint and OneDrive really relate in Microsoft services and suites, or you have others like Dropbox. Two additional unnamed organizations, both public and private sectors. So this was on-prem hack, which means on premises. So if you're not using the cloud and you have your own servers, but you host SharePoint on those servers. Relied heavily for secure document storage and collaboration. On-premise solution. This very architecture is what attackers have leveraged. So that is a huge thing. These organizations were using on-premise SharePoint drives, SharePoint servers, which are pretty much drives, and again, that was one of the vulnerabilities. And so it's a lot. This is why you might want to go with the cloud. I mean, for things like this, I think when you have a company that all they do is deliver cloud products, I mean, on-prem is, and they're able to sustain their own servers, it seems you don't have to deal with these. I mean, a lot of places the security threat can be minimized. A lot of places. Microsoft has yet to issue a public statement addressing inquiries. Serves as a stark reminder the need to prioritize proactive patch management, vulnerability scanning, and layer security defenses. Yes, layered defenses, layered because once you have one layer, as we spoke about, this, I believe, had two vulnerabilities, stacked vulnerabilities. Modularizing the threat helps. And when I say modularizing, I mean breaking everything down, disconnecting systems instead of just saying this blob, something happened. Breaking down the process and the system. 54 organizations across. So this is speaking about the U.S. nuclear agency, one of the victims of the Sharepoint vulnerability chain, breached by hackers exploiting 2.0 days, and those were the stacked ones. Department of Energy designs, dismantles, and maintains the country's nuclear warheads. Response to nuclear emergencies. Quote, the security, and this is from CPO magazine, quote, the security flaw only affects on-premise SharePoint servers, but not those housed within the Microsoft 365 tenant, unquote. Yes, so NNSA. So what is the NNSA? National Nuclear Security Administration had affected the Energy Department and the Nuclear Agency. Minimally impacted due to its widespread use of Microsoft M365 Cloud and very capable cybersecurity systems. And I don't know what happened, but my guess is that they have a, I mean, obviously, because non-critical, non-classified data was breached. So there's a different level of security that you permit to data, and the agency permits to data, various agency, defense, energy, depending on the sensitivity of that data, that information, whose eyes actually need to see it, and various other items. So it seems like they maintained less critical, less sensitive data off of their M365 cloud, and also probably had different cybersecurity layers around different data. I mean, this is M365, so it's definitely going to have a different cybersecurity protocols across it than an on-premise SharePoint server. It's a different software. You can know by the when it was released. M365 was released within the last 10 years. SharePoint is much older. Cloud is a much more recent technology versus on-premise servers. So, and based off of the iteration of what's being deployed, you can tell M65 is more highly maintained. But then that goes back to the fact that Microsoft is such a widespread used legacy company, and it's a lot of that is, again, going back to industrial systems, government systems, academic organizations. So here, tool shell SharePoint vulnerability chain. Okay, so we will move on. Widening attack surface. So this is from Techie, TECHI.com. Minimal damage after hackers attempt to breach U.S. particle physics lab. Hit in recent cyber attack, exploiting a vulnerability in SharePoint server in a broader cyber campaign. Quickly identified and resulting impact was minimal. First identified in May 2025, and then Microsoft released a patch. The fix was reported incomplete, left a window open for cyber actors. That's not good. That's really unfortunate. Earlier this quote, this is from techie.com. Earlier this month, a report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office sharply criticized Microsoft's security posture in government systems. According to the GODA, systematic gaps in patching timelines and transparency have increased risks for agencies relying on Microsoft software and critical infrastructure, unquote. So that's not good. Growing need for software supply chain transparency. Industry observers point to the incident as a signal that software supply chains are rapidly becoming the new battleground in cybersecurity. We urge all organizations using SharePoint Server to apply Microsoft's latest patches immediately. Do that. Always apply your patches, updates. So here's one that's exciting because it's not a US based one. This is from the Kiev Post. Hack on Russia's Aeroflot strands thousands corporate database erased. Digital attackers from Belarus and Ukraine said Aeroflot management made the break in a lot easier with bad password policy and use of ancient operating systems. And they created a black screen with multiple languages written on it. It's very taunting thing. Hackers are, I mean, I don't know what to say. Hackers, they know what they're doing. It's amazing. Hacking is amazing. Hackers are really amazing people, and not to justify what they're doing or excuse it or even romanticize it, but it's still an incredible feat. Because it's stressful. I mean, if you listen to stories about hackers, you listen to a hacking podcast, and their lives are not easy. You think it's not easy. If you're able to do what they're able to do, it's much easier to just get a job as a software engineer or something, or a cybersecurity expert, and you'll live you can get well paid and live a normal life. But again, like I said earlier, people find things out very easily. Oh, let me remove this. So Aeroflot got hacked. Massive cyber attack brought Aeroflot flights to near standstill. Digital database was irrevocably erased. Okay, so the digital assault hit Aeroflot servers during the night of July 28th. So that is really interesting. And many people know about they know about ransomware, but what they don't know about often is it's not ransomware. Let me get the name of it. What's the name of not ransom, but when data is corrupted? It's called Wiper malware. Wiper. The most destructive software of all time was a wiper. And it was called, or did SolarWinds, not Petya. It was not Petya in June 2017 because it erased the data. But that is exactly what this is as well. Aeroflot had their database erased, supposedly, and that's called wiper malware. Hit airports in Moscow and Petersburg, corporate HQ of Aeroflot, shut down computers at both airports and branch offices in HQ. The HQ complex had its electricity shut off to prevent further access to compromised systems, and staff had no access to the network. Impossible to refuel aircraft, determine crew location. That's so scary if you're in the sky. Man, I mean, luckily you have it that goes beyond just the airline, but wow, that would be a little terrifying. So they weren't able to refuel, determine crew location, track crew rest, or find registered passengers list, or identify maintenance needing aircraft. Practically destroyed Aeroflot's internal IT infrastructure. Wiped clean 7,000 servers. Wow. Hit 8,000 computers using 100 different operating systems. And they could only reach a main screen, which was a taunting main screen. It's just like this terminal with a bunch of it's a cartoon written in a terminal. 50 Aeroflot flights canceled over the day and thousands of travelers stranded. So the attackers injected an algorithm into corporate networks to erase Aeroflot operated Crew, Sabre, SharePoint, Exchange, Kahoot, Xerox, Sophie, CRM, ERP, 1C, and even security systems, and wiped clean all data used by those airline information sharing programs without chance of recovery. Quote, possible errors in Aeroflot servers requiring possible timetable correction, unquote, went on. Wow. Estimated income loss was about $3.15 to $6.15 million. Aeroflot stocks plummeted by nearly 4%. And it was a serious disaster. The main website was inaccessible on Tuesday, but its subsidiaries, Rossiya and Pobeda Airlines, appeared to function normally. Wow, that's huge. Huge chaos. Cyber is often overlooked until it can't be overlooked anymore. And it's a huge deal. Ukraine is doing amazing things, whether that's drones. They have to. When you're constantly in war and defending yourself, and you feel your identity is always being attacked, you become very innovative. So, and now we will get to probably the biggest thing, which is St. Paul. I can't believe I haven't even gotten to St. Paul yet. St. Paul, Minnesota data breach. This is supposedly a huge deal, it seems like. State of emergency declared after cyber attack against St. Paul. The Minnesota National Guard activated. Cyber attack against the city of St. Paul. Governor Tim Walz activated the Minnesota National Guard. The magnitude and complexity of the cybersecurity incident have exceeded the city's response capacity, and it's a local state of emergency. Detected suspicious activity on the city's network Friday. FBI is being included. Mobilized local, state, and federal partners. So the disruptions are affecting online and internal systems. 911 is working fine. Loss of Wi-Fi in cities' buildings, disruption to library collections management systems, and suspension of network access for several internal applications. Quote, if you go and check your credit score right now, there's probably going to be nothing on there, but having credit monitoring in case information like your name and social security numbers, where that would be good, that would be very good to implement, unquote. That was from Brian Halbach, president of Good Guy Hackers, LLC. Wow. Don't use the same password, unique, different. Reuse passwords are awful. If you reuse passwords at this point, I mean, I know they're older people. I don't know if that's what this is. I doubt it. I hope not. I mean, that would probably be a single person that you just get in through their account. So I want to find out what happened. Exceeded city's response capacity. Full shutdown. The information and nature has not been publicly exposed. So we don't know anything about this yet. Seems like a huge deal, and we'll probably report on it in several days again. But thank you, everyone. This was good. Remember, it's not easy to keep secure, but just studying the breaches that do happen, maybe working in software yourself, and learning about security. And if you build software and if you build technology, trying to bring that into your consideration, because it's a big deal. It's not obvious. You really have to care to even have a chance. And if you don't care, you're definitely not going to have a chance. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Take care.